One. Welcome to Stone Soup Poetry and our month of features for October. We have some amazing people coming your way the next couple of weeks and the next couple of months. Some poets have already penned themselves down for November and even December. I'll be announcing them probably sometime next week just to make sure that they don't get lost in the shuffle. A really good poet has agreed to be the first feature of December, and someone has tentatively agreed for November, and I'm hoping she hasn't forgotten. I'm sending her an email now. But tonight, most importantly, our feature is David R. Surette. From Malden to the South Shore to really south in Cape Cod, he has shared his poetic gifts with countless people over what has to be now countless amount of books. His most recent book is Tonic from Moon Pie Press, which is available for purchase, and there will be links on the YouTube video as well as elsewhere. We do hope you buy a copy and support the poet any way possible. And if the poet's willing, he'll share his Venmo and Cash App name, not his passwords, his names. Don't get smart, people. But as some I've gotten asked for my Cash App password by so many people, so many fake people. But Tonic is available for $15 and has already been praised in reviews by Alice Kosiemba, author of Born Bridge and founder of Calliope Poetry, and Stephen Real, author of Edgemere. One particular quote from Riel says, "The impact of Surette's metaphors can sneak up on a reader, as when a teacher is fingerprinted by fantasies or when a son discovers the inadequacy of inherited objects." Perfect words to describe David, who retired from teaching a couple of years ago. After COVID, he met all his challenges, and you earned your right to ride into the sunset, sir. But so congratulations on that. And moreover, congratulations on still working, and congratulations on your book tour, which has several live dates. Hopefully some of us can catch those. And now, before we go to the feature, we're going to go to the very appreciative open mic, who can't wait to listen to you, but let's get their stuff out of their systems first. The Ramdonator 5000 has selected people. I don't ask people to sign in what number they want to be on the list, because everyone would just say 5, 7, or 8, and no one would ever pick 1 to 3. So the Ramdonator does the work for you and can pick out the narcissists in hiding, the ones who are really attention seekers, even though they're like, "Oh, put me down for 12. There's 11 of you." I know. So without any judgments and appreciation for everyone's willingness to step up, let us welcome up first, as picked by Ramdonator 5000, Mary Jennings, who we haven't seen for a while. So welcome back.
Thank you very much, Chad. I'm always stuck on number 1 somehow with that. Okay. All right. I've written a new series of cinquains, which are called Clap Back. Clap back, besmirching your reliability when self-care's your priority. Hounded. Clap back, denying your claims of abuse from one whose good name is never doubted. Immune. Clap back, dismissing your grief as hostility, won't claim accountability. Frustrate. Clap back, questioning your good character. They're just covering their bad track record. Distract. Clap back, assuming you are in concurrence with their vapid views of existence. Drivel. Clap back, discrediting your life experience with baby talk and pats on head. Can walk. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary. Is this is this a series of cinquains continuing the previous ones that you read? Are they a continuation, or is it a new set?
Just a new set.
Good luck with that one. And
Thank you.
And next, let's now go to, let's for something completely different. From parts known in Idaho, let's go to Mr. Bill Lewis.
What do you mean by saying that, Chad? For you always do things. I mean, here I am, sweet and innocent, and kind and loving, and you are saying silly things about me. What would people think if they said things about you like this? How do you like my pumpkin there? Yeah. Every year I would have a pumpkin party, and my friends would come over, and we would carve pumpkins. Woohoo! I don't know when I wrote this, a few years ago, back in the early days of COVID. Don't go back to normal. It wasn't that great. Stretch your wing and strive for glory. This is your time to create. Your buds will say it can't be done. You don't have any power. They'll say, give up. You have no choice. You must obey and cower. They are the ones who have the wealth. They set all the rules. You and I, my little friends, are nothing but their tools. The only chance we have in life is to do as we're commanded. If you don't work like you've been told, you'll be fired and you'll be stranded. Normal is sweet and normal is safe, and normal is how we do things. Now shut up your trap, get back in line, and wait until the bell rings. You're weak, you're poor, you have no choice. You must obey your master. If you try to force your fate, it will be a disaster. You have that friend who didn't go the way that you expected. They built that business with their friends, and you were there connected. You could have joined, but you declined. CVS was safer. Now they're rich and you are poor. What did you do this all for? Now is your time. This is your moment. You have the power, your life to invent. What will you tell your kids 20 years hence? When you had the power, did you have the sense? So that is supposed to be an encouraging poem to say, everybody get out there and use your power, build the world you want. Now, it will pass you by, and all sorts of other good positive things like that. Okay, take care. Chadford, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Bill. Much appreciated. Oh, looks like we're getting a couple more people, one or two more people joining us. Welcome. Just making sure they're muted.
All right, where you want to go? Right.
Oh, I see. I think I know who's joining us. Oh. Hi, how are you?
Hello, it's Chris.
Oh, welcome.
Welcome. Good to see you.
Great. Well, we're gonna mute you. We'll get back to you probably shortly, but we're just in the middle of the open mic.
But buddy, listen, William S. Burroughs is a filthy asshole. William S.
Oh.
Burroughs.
Okay. Okay, good to know. Thank you for sharing. We'll get back to you. Right now, we're going to continue on with the open mic, and we're going to go on with our phone participant. I couldn't reach Carol Weston. Hopefully, I'll be getting in touch with her later. But for now, we're going to go over to Miss Nancy Dodson, who, when she presses *6, will be able to share her work. There you go.
Mist impressions. Mist comes. Dawn breaks on. Dewdrops here everywhere. Light pours into blurred eyes. The rainy mist comes. Light breaks into dots. The flowers are in. Petals fall. Mist comes. A rain torrent. Leaves fall. One cannot see.
Bravo, Nancy, and thank you. Up next, We're gonna bring up one half of the Poetry Power couple for Stone Soup. Let's bring up Jan Rowe. She and James Van Lloyd took a month-long trip, so now they're getting back, gathering poems, gathering words, working on drafts, and let's see what Jan has for us this week. There you go.
Hi, Chad. I'm sorry, Jan's not here. I tried to send you a message, but I guess it didn't go through. So she's not here right now, Chad.
Okay, then having removed Jan from the equation, let's go now to Randinator pick next, Miss Jackie Chow. There you go.
Okay. Okay. I used to write a lot of horror haiku, but I haven't been doing that lately. So I'm going to read a regular poem, and that's the closest to a horror poem that I've written recently. It's called The Eyes. I'm looking for my eyes. They slipped from my sockets and fell to the blue carpet. Can you help me find them? They're dark brown and myopic. I cannot see you like I used to. The arched black brows, the glint in the beckoning lips, they have all disappeared, becoming nothing but fragments of memories. Can you please give me back my eyes so this darkness between you and me will finally go away? That's one. Okay, and this is another poem. This is called You Asked Me to Write You a Poem. You asked me to write you a poem, to loop the words over the lined pages, noisily like rainfall, against the clock's tick-tock. It shouldn't take much to look up from my origami making, to stop the hands from shaping the paper into the body and wings of a crane. Yet the rain beats down, the clock ticks on, and my ink runs dry, leaving me inadequate to capture your face, your heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Up next, we're going to bring up Mr. David Miller, multi-time author and friend to Stone Soup. We got to talk later on just with updates, but we don't have to do that right now. So off to you. The forum's yours.
Thanks, Chad. So this poem comes from a writing prompt, or it started with a writing prompt from the team of Jessica Jacobs and Nicole Brown. And the prompt was, write a moment you shared with someone you wish you could forget, but can't. So, mere oblivion. The further I stretch to think of someone I wish to forget, the more people I remember. I haul the dung cart of regret, heaped with hurtful hilarities, shallow wooings, those I'd like to sleep with you bombs dropped from nearly nowhere, and aha, that monologue about my Faust obsession prattled to impress a particular she. The night I could not stop phoning, every 20 minutes, a different charmer when I had proposed to marry. Always a she, or she, or she, or she I could want to need to forget. Vain hope, that drive does not crash. Now, someone's muscled into mind a he, my high school band director. Me, his summer musical sidekick, invited to his house while my family vacationed. Me, teenage boy Friday, and his voluptuous wife, his shelves of Playboy. That afternoon, he left me on my own with magazines, my glutton eyes delirious with girls and near to nausea. Yes, I could wish to blank that, and him. But looky there, I went and gone and remembered. now at that awkward age when, given a few more years, spouses may begin to recognize their other one slightly less each day. Just give me a moment. Oh, of course, it's you. Or not at all. Where is my husband? Get out of my bed. This is why I'd rather not want to try to forget people. Thanks.
Thank you, David. Anything new coming out this month?
Yeah, but yeah, I'll put it on Facebook. I don't remember.
Okay, this is why I don't do impromptu interviews. I always seem to ask the one question that leaves everyone hanging.
Thanks for asking.
No worries. Up next, speaking of awkward questions, Minion, I know that you were a little hoarse, but I didn't know if you'd be interested in reading or if you're just listening.
Yes, I'm a pony, but if people can deal with my voice, I'll read one.
You're good, pony girl. Let's hear you read.
Thank you. Now time, in memory of PCD. At this time, when I've had an entire bottle of sangria for one, and yet again here, after deciding to tackle the fact that the one who never came to be, I cannot say he never panned out, as he was indeed a California blonde, yet it wasn't his job to be as lovely an object as newly sifted gold. Died a couple of months, we never became. He died a couple of months ago. Just now it hits me, pancreatic cancer. And I've known for a year or more those freaking cigarettes have ultimately claimed one of the good ones, not as yet one of the bad boys I've loved. A bouquet of rue, or whatever damn flower that is supposed to be on the top banner of social media strip that lets us peripheral people who loved him once, or maybe for always, know versus feel that a beautiful human who let us down at some point for a myriad of reasons when we would have moved states or coasts or countries, continents, if loving him on this pathetic planet seemed enough. He's gone. Beauty dies every time, but knowing the facts is zero consolation. Goodbye, love. Thank you.
Oh, sweet. Thank you so much, Minion. And let's see. The Remdinator has questions. There's a couple of people who are on here, and I don't know if they're reading or not. Marietta Nilsson, if you're interested in reading on the open mic, you can let me know. No, you're good? You're good. Okay. Well, then we have someone, his name on the Zoom is Zoom Bennett, which would make a great character name in a cartoon strip. So, Mr. Bennett, if you're interested in reading, let me know. I can help you with the unmute part. I just click the ask unmute button. There should be in the right-hand corner a part where you can actually mute and unmute on the window where your face appears. We can get back to you. While you're figuring that out, I'm gonna bring us to the next Remdinator selected poet. Let's give it up for Mr. John Wesick.
Hello. When he walks into an empty room, loneliness says it needs a little time to itself. Panhandlers cross the street to avoid him. He asks employers about their marital status, files harassment complaints against HR, and leaves car salesmen waiting while he talks to his supervisor. When he goes to the dentist, the drill needs Novocaine. Cranberries take him with a spoon of sugar. Telemarketers hang up when he answers the phone. COVID gets vaccinated against him. He is the most antisocial man in the world. I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I prefer arrogant bastard ale. Stay bitter, my friends.
Nicely done. Very nicely done. And I'm going to give it over now, if he is interested, to the man who calls himself Mr. Generalissimo Brian Franco, poet, author, and venue host himself, I believe. So, if you're willing, Brian, we can listen. Ooh, you might be coming in a little shaky. Try saying something again. You're coming up broken, unfortunately. Uh-oh. And he's done. Well, we'll check up on Zoom and Brian later. I'm assuming Brian's gonna come back in later, but for now, we'll end this part of the open mic with Mr. James Van Looy. You can catch every Thursday morning on oddballmagazine.com with his regular poem column. It's all one thing, features every Wednesday at 11 o'clock. Let's welcome up to close us out. And if Brian and Mr. Bennett can get on, we can have them. Oh, here we go. All right, James, if you don't mind, Zoom, Mr. Bennett just got on with the help of his aide, so maybe we can hear from him.
Hi.
Okay. Hi, sir. What's your full name? I doubt it's Zoom, though. That would be awesome if it was.
Christopher Barker, associated with Lady Latif.
Oh.
1997.
Well, very good. Do you have a poem for us?
Well, I've got a lot of poems. I'm way the fuck ahead of my time, and I'm not a goddamn filthy stinking Nazi.
Okay.
I never will be.
Well, these are all good qualities.
Fuck William Paris.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
What do
Good
you
morning.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry.
No worries.
All right. Take care.
No worries. Welcome to the land where everything can happen, and often does. Let's go back to Jesus Christ. Let's go back to Mr. Brian Franco. Are you available?
I am available. Can you
Oh,
hear me better
you're
now?
much better. 2,000% better. I'll just give you the mic.
Gracias. Okay, let me go ahead and read this piece, which is a really old piece. It's called Boom, Baby Boom. Excuse me for 1 second. There was a lady. So the lady that TV talk show Maury. The DNA came back yes. The daddy did not say he was sorry. So the lady said to the daddy, listen, daddy, I got my proof. Now I best start getting child support. If you don't pay up, I'm going to take you to the cleaners when I take you to court. Oh, no, she didn't know. Yes, she did. That man is in trouble. A boom, baby, boom, baby, boom, baby, boom. It's 20 or so years later. The baby is a young lady at an Ivy League school on a full 4-year scholarship. In a study group, she meets a really nice boy whose family happens to be very rich. They date a while. They fall in love. About 3 years in, he asks her to marry him. She doesn't hesitate to say yes. That night on the phone, his father says, son, protect your trust fund. Get a prenup. He says, okay, I guess. Oh, no, he didn't know. Yes, he did. That boy is in trouble. Boom, boom, baby, baby, boom, boom. He sat down with his wife-to-be. She said, I can't sign that thing. To me, a prenup is a tool of mistrust, attempts fate to open the gate to set a marriage on a course for divorce. He convinced his dad the prenup wasn't a need and returned to his fiancée with his chest in the air like a proud galloping steed. She said, baby, I'm so in love with you and I love you so much. You always make everything right. It's my turn to make things right. Let's hit the bedroom and have one hell of a night. Oh, and they had one hell of a night. Oh, no, she didn't. Oh, yes, she did. Boom, baby, boom, baby, baby, boom, baby, boom, baby, boom, baby, boom, baby, boom. Oh, they had one hell of a wedding, one hell of a honeymoon. It was in Niagara Falls. 9 months later, they was in a delivery room. That man was so nervous, his wife's legs up in stirrups. Then came the really big surprise right before his eyes. But it wasn't to his chagrin. It's just that none of the sonograms showed that she was carrying twins. Push, honey! I can see the head. Ah! It's a girl. There's another baby. Ah! It's a boy. That boy is in trouble. A boom, baby, boom, baby, boom, baby, boom. Thank you.
The Maury Povich Show abridged for every show ever. Thank you so much, Ryan. And now, having refinished the open mic, let us close out with our hero, Mr. James Van Loy, so we can get to our feature tonight. Thank you all for your patience. James, if you're ready.
Yep, I am, Chad. So this is called On to Crimea. There already was a Crimean War, of course, 1853 to 56. Ottoman Empire, propped up by England and France from faltering stance of doddering old man who finally collapsed in World War I, axis of Germany and Austro-Hungarian Empire, when those empires all went down. But back in the 1850s Crimean War, there was, as today, a Baltic battleground, just like today of Nord Stream attack, with Russian ships bottled up in their ports, besieged, protected by guns and walls. Russia was so humiliated by their defeat that they undertook a massive program of industrial scale growth that became the Revolution of 1917, the manufacturing system that made the military might and tore the guts right out of Hitler's blitzkrieg. So we've heard over and over again and again about Chamberlain's appeasement at Munich. And Hitler keeps on coming back as nationalist this and that, Ho Chi Minh, or Saddam Hussein, or Libya's Gaddafi, justifying one war after another and then another, but no one ever looks back to the world crisis, year 1848, the year of the revolutions, through the 1870s and the Paris Commune, and the whirlwind Franco-Prussian War that changed everything when Germany and Italy became nations, instead of a pack of principalities and kingdoms incapable of nation-state militaries with dictators like, Mussolini and Hitler. And here's the song to go with it. So long, sad times, go long, bad times, we are rid of you at last. Howdy, gay times, cloudy, great times, you are now a thing of the past, 'cause happy days are here again. The skies above are clear again. Let us sing a song of cheer again. Happy days are here again. All together, shout it now. There's no one who can doubt it now. So let's tell the world about it now. Happy Happy days are here again. Your cares and troubles are gone. There'll be no more from now on. Happy days are here again. The skies above are clear again. Let's sing a song of cheer again. Happy days are here again.
You're muted, Chad.
Someday someone's just gonna do like a Bruce Lee, like a what's up, what's new Tiger Lily, and just like lip sync, add words to my voiceless mouth as I trail off. Thanks to James Van Looy and thanks to everyone who participated in the open mic. Quick reminder, next week we have Nava the Butterfly featuring, and I can tell you now, I'll be posting the information hopefully tomorrow. But on the 18th, we do have Lo Galuccio, who has a new chapbook from Savannah Barbara Press. So very excited to have her back, and hopefully more announcements will be made as we continue booking, and people are excited to read poetry again. I think it was a rough summer for a lot of people, but now people are coming out of their shells, putting on slippers, and joining us online. I hope there's more to come. And tonight is my pleasure to welcome David R. Surette to read his boilerplate bio. Small but impressive. David R. Surette's new book of poetry is Tonic. He is the author of 6 other collections, including Stable and Easy to Keep, Hard to Keep In, both honored by the Massachusetts Book Awards. His poems have recently featured in the anthology From the Farther Shore, Discovering Cape Cod and the Islands Through Poetry, and the Three Nations anthology, Native, Canadian, and New England Writers. A winner of the Maine Book Award, he currently lives on Cape Cod. Though he'll probably he probably won't stick in any one place. Hopefully I'll be seeing him in my neck of the woods again as a feature or maybe even a resident. Who knows? Let the wind take you where you may, David, but we're glad the wind has brought you here with us, even if it's virtually. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together 30, 40 more times for Mr. David R. Surette. Virtually or
you.
otherwise.
All right, I'm all set. You can hear me and everything. I'm zooming correctly. Nice. My new book is called Tonic, and if I know it's backwards, but if you grew up in this area, we didn't call things soda or pop. We called things tonic. You know, you went to the store for a tonic. And I also think that it was a good description, I hope, of my poems, that they're a tonic for some darker days. The book before that was Malden, and I thought I had done writing about Malden. I grew up there, and I moved at probably about 37 years old. But then my friend Tom Cronin sent me my 5th grade yearbook, and I was reading through it, and I was so amazed at the predictions for all these 5th grade students and classmates of mine. So I ended up writing a poem for him. It's called 5th Grade Yearbook. The 1968 Our Community, published by the 5th grade Class B of Immaculate Conception School, Malden, Massachusetts, in memory of Robert F. Kennedy. I will grow up to be an historian. Further down, it notes I am most popular, so I have that going for me. But truth to tell, I tie Tommy Cronin, who swept the rest of the superlatives. But what about the 2 Carberry boys, ordained to be loan shark and garbage collector, or Joanne Breen's go-go dancer, or Robert Leroux works for the circus? How did their life work out for them? And I wonder if class poet Mary Terrier was somewhere sitting, clutching a thin volume of poetry, waiting to hear her name called so she can go to the podium and read to the dozen folks, each holding their own. That crowd might include me. I didn't grow up to be an historian, unless you count my endless desire to spill my own. So out of that came like a little flood of more Malden memories. So this is making out at Malden High School, 1973. They made out between every class on the stairway platform between first and second floor. 2,000 students changing class pushed up and down those stairs as they kissed, oblivious to the bodies brushing by. Her blonde hair fell down her back and his afro burst like a dandelion, brown cheek pressed to white. I sat outside the principal's office when they arrived, about a dozen, purpose in their gait. I didn't hear their demands, but I heard the angry response. They marched out, heads bowed, cowed and angry. Now they want their own prom, the principal said to me, his only audience now. I didn't know what they already asked for, and I didn't know why this was one too many. Later that year, we all gathered in the auditorium for the kickoff of the Sickle Cell Anemia Awareness Campaign. It brought out a lot of racists in some kids, stuff I'm too cowardly to repeat. A large man guided Stevie Wonder to the piano. Stevie Wonder, I'm not making this up. He sang, very superstitious, the devil's on his way. But the devil was already here, the angels fearlessly kissing on the stairs. That's something I could always brag about, that we had Stevie Wonder at a Malden High School assembly. This is Ross Tuxedos, Malden Square. My first job was shining shoes at a tuxedo shop. They waited weekly in boxes stuffed back in after weddings or proms. It was an easy job, 5 cents a shoe. The radio played Roberta's Flax, the first time I ever saw your face. I wanted to tell her to speed it up a little. During hockey season, a friend offered to do the job holding it for me through the winter months. He got fired, caught just eyeballing the shoes with a quick good enough before shoving them back in the box, shifting them into the shine pile. I know I should have been mad, but I wasn't in love with the work. I would have lots of jobs, waiting tables at the Seacrest, cooking breakfast at the Dome, managed a couple of strawberries in a Music City. 33 years of teaching in the public schools, of course, shining up the students and putting them back in their boxes, trying to do more than just eyeballing them. With those memories too came summer memories. And I live on the Cape now. And one of the great things about where I now live, it's where we used to summer as children. So a lot of the same places I go to now as an old guy, I went as a child. So this is Salt Marsh Lane, Cape Cod, 1966. It was summer. I know this because I only wore shorts, felt the packed sand beneath my bare feet, smelled the sulfury marsh behind me. We played basketball, the hoop high above our heads, nailed to pitch pine. We heaved the ball underhand, not yet capable of holding the ball over our heads. We took turns, no dribbling, just an awkward bouncing in place. I don't remember talking, maybe laughing with her. I squatted and tucked the ball between my legs and heaved it to the net. I followed it with my eyes. It clunked off the rim and popped back right in front of me. I looked at her staring at me like I had pulled a knife on her. She looked once behind her, then twice and ran. I had no idea what had come over her. What had I done to scare her so? Did someone call her? Was she coming back? A breeze between my knees and a quick look down revealed my split shorts where I had fallen through. But I didn't mean anything. It just happened. Hey, man, she was fast. I pushed myself back up in my shorts and went inside to chuck away those offending shorts. It seemed, I don't know if it's the Cape or maybe it was the age, but a lot of coming of age things sort of stuck in my head, that being, of course, a very embarrassing one. This is called Ginger, and the Cape Cod Sunday Times actually published this once, and it was really nice of them. So this is called Ginger. She piloted a Boston whaler up and down the estuary alone. Cut off jeans, a bikini top, golden skin. Her blonde ponytail flowed out the back of her cap. I watched her from the hill above whenever I visited Dave McBride at his cottage in West Yarmouth. He pretended not to notice me staring at her faraway figure, but one day he told me her name, Ginger. That night, my father took the family for ice cream, and on the sign of 50 flavors was ginger. My father asked if I was sure when I ordered it instead of my usual strawberry. I pretended to like it, still young enough to believe that the number of times I got ice cream was finite and I had just wasted one. I count kisses too. I never risked missing out on a chance to kiss the woman I love, each one tasting of the freshest strawberries, sweet as ice cream. I also found that I retired right before COVID, which was awesome because all my colleagues who talked to me during COVID was just so exhausted and miserable. But I did teach for 33 years. So if you would, I'm going to read a couple of teaching poems. My first teaching practicum was in a kindergarten, February in cold, Waterville, Maine cold. The children clumped in boots, ski pants, scarves, mittens, sweaters, hats that filled the overheated room with the sense of wool and snow. They lined up and the teacher and I commenced the work. Mittens shaken off, left dangling, hats removed, stuffed in pockets, scarves unwrapped, hung on hooks, jackets pulled off, left waiting, boots pulled free, squeezed into cubbies. The teacher wiped the noses that needed wiping. When the last child was settled in, it was time to get them redressed for the journey back home. The first maybe 10 years I taught, I was the last one hired, so that I had to teach a lot of different subjects. Some subjects I didn't know anything about. So this is 9th grade geography. I plan a chapter ahead and fake teaching knowledge of the subject. Before Christmas break, I assigned a project, Holidays Around the World. It goes as expected until Jared steps to the front of the class and announces St. Dominique's Day. Here's one I don't know. I lean in to listen. He talks of women walking down the village square carrying the giant phallus. Giant what? I say to myself and scan the classroom. The class pretends to listen. There's not even a smirk. The women prostrate themselves in front of it and weep with joy. The presenter admits no adolescent giggles. Had he bothered to look up prostrate or phallus? He finishes reading, bows, and places the report on my desk, all smiles. Thank you, Jared. I made a video too, Mr. Surette. Maybe another day, Jared. I still have that report. I should have dragged it out and showed you. I still have St. Dominique's Day. And for a third teaching poem, and this is the first one was the beginning of my career. The other was probably Waltham. This is the end of my career. Fingerprinted. The shop hid behind the mold doctor and something going out of business. She, a pretty petite blonde, no makeup, no jewelry, jeans, and a t-shirt, bright with an assault rifle. America, I'll defend it. There was an empty baby seat. Her hands were small. She guided mine with a teenage girl's touch on a boyfriend's hand on a gear shift. She couldn't have been gentler, nicer as she pressed and rolled. I made it 60 years out of the system. I committed no crime except to keep a job in the public schools. I imagined saying to her that we could leave right now, empty the savings accounts, and drive till the money runs out, and then rob our way across this great country of ours. A real old-fashioned crime spree. She already had the guns. Let's give these fingerprints an adventure. Instead, she handed me the receipt. I stuck it in my wallet to retrieve it for the central office, which was 2 flights and 6 security cameras down from my classroom. People ask all the time, how kids have changed. And for 30 years, I said, they didn't, they don't believe it. They're the same. They're not bad or worse, they're the same. But what did change was that they weren't safe anymore. That's what changed. And that's a pretty profound change. And you know, fingerprinting me was one of their solutions, when protecting me was probably what they should have been doing. I wrote this, maybe I should tell you this a writing tip. I was building a greenhouse for my wife, and I was putting up the final beam. And when I put it up there, I said, I better not leave it up there. I better nail it in tight because the wind might knock it down and fall on me. And then the wind knocked it down and it fell on me and knocked me out. And having played hockey for most of my younger life, I've had a lot of concussions. So it was sort of a bad couple of months. But when I came out of the depression, man, I wrote the 60 poems for this book and probably a couple 100,000 words. So there you go. If you look for inspiration, good. But so these poems, I wrote sort of in that sort of fury, and then I hope I fixed them. And I found out the two things I wrote about most was the two persons was my wife and my father. So I'd like to share a couple of poems for my wife and a couple for my father. This is just called Kath. The colors were familiar, red on white on white. The textures true, wool, flesh, and snow. In the tilt of her head, her smile, the shape of her face, framed by her hood familiar. Except as she walked the 50 feet after recognition towards me, I saw history travel backwards, time's arrow thrown back to the bow. We were old, 8 decades in love, collapsing to this moment, a lifetime of love marked in an instant on a snowy day in Maine on the Colby campus. Which I guess is, well, and this is called The Gift. I think I'm a terrible gift giver. And this is a particularly bad gift I gave because it was a time of our relationship. I think she was expecting a gift that came in a little box, like about this big. The gift. She could tell I was pleased with myself. You're gonna love it. A shadow passed over her eyes when I placed the box on her lap. The box too big, unless it was a set of Chinese boxes ending with a tiny velvet box containing you know what. I had screwed up again. It was a pair of figure skates. I had pictured her holding my hand as we glided over the ice, the only surface on which I have any grace, the picture of two people in love. She didn't say a word, grinned, tried them on. We did skate once, me and my Bauer Supreme, she and her bright white Rydels. She said they hurt her feet. But we still made it this far. And right before COVID, my wife was working in Martha's Vineyard Hospital. She's a nurse. And of course, that became the ultimate worst job because then she was bringing COVID back and forth from the islands. But so this is a poem that it was one of the few times in our relationship that we were by routine separated. So as she was commuting to Martha's Vineyard, I was left home alone. My wife worked on the island. She commuted on the ferry from Woods Hole, leaving retired me alone for a couple of weeks, for a couple of days a week. I pulled her old photo book off the shelf, all the hers before I first saw her. When she returned, I told her how beautiful she was and how I wished I had known her then, known her all my life. She made a face like she had just bitten into a lemon. She tried to make me feel better. She told me that in the beginning, she thought I was too pretty to date. And that does make me feel a little better, although I haven't been pretty for decades. All right. And yeah, and you're right, so you can use your imagination that I was once pretty. And I like to read a couple of poems for my dad and then close out with sort of the COVID poem that ends the book. This is a World War II monument. I pulled over to surprise my father. Come with me, Dad. I wanted to show him where he and his brothers' names were newly etched. My mother stayed in the car. Come on, I said, Mom, it's cool. She remained in the car seat. I already know her name, he said. Bella Pratt's sculpture stands above Bell Rock Park, the bell's long silence. The Marine waves a flag, Army and Navy crouch on guard. We follow the paths laid by Olmsted, ignore memorials for the Civil and Revolutionary Wars, past Michael Wigglesworth plaque. I stare my father to his and his brother's war. On the wall, engraved names, neighbor names, classmate names, Malden names, served and survived and those who died. My fingers read history's braille. Most are dead now. In a few years, my father joined them. My mother, who waited in the car, sits daily next to his empty chair. And this is called Last One, but it's not the last poem. But it's the last one for my father. I was surprised as everyone departed, two at a time, a backwards arc. Didn't they hear? Didn't they know? No one should die alone, and no one should be alone to wait. But I was alone to wait. A nurse who was so tall, maybe 6'2", checked on him and said, it's only a matter of time. My younger brother, late as usual, finally appeared and said little. We waited until the tall nurse turned and said, he's gone. I expected more than this terrible absence. She wrapped me in her arms, this very tall nurse. My brother stepped back to the wall like he was facing a firing squad. I don't know if this happened. Well, it probably does, because you're all poets, is that you're sort of hunting for a poem, and then you get one, you capture one, and you play with it, and you make it into this little thing that's a poem, and I'm going, I got it on the poem, this is great. And then you read it in public, and you go, oh, you forgot what the genesis of the poem, what, the sadness behind the poem. I guess that allows us to write the poem, but every once in a while I catch myself. On the back of my book, there are 4 faces, and they're my 3 best friends. And we've been, one of them I've been a best friend for 66 years. We were next door neighbors, and the other 2 since 7th grade. And every year for the last 3 years, we get together in Maine. And it's an amazing thing, and they're an amazing guy. So I wrote this poem for them. This is the first time we met because we had for 3 years you didn't see anybody. It's called Long Late Bridgeton, Maine, August 2021 for Dave, Jim, and Tom. We have hidden from the pandemic for 2 years. Vaccinated and tested, we meet in Maine. 4 friends for more than 50 years, long forgiven faults. Deep into drink in the dark around a fire a few feet from the lake. I ask, is there anything left to believe in? Anything? There are no arguments here. My friends say just appreciate the best in your life. Know that you love and you are loved. And I don't know if that's enough. As they go to bed one by one, I strip and walk into the lake, hoping to awaken something or to find a place in the lake's blessing. In the morning, I collect my clothes, shoes, phone, and glasses, all I had lost in the dark. Thank you.
Sadly, I can only post one hand emoji at a time. So put your hands together for David. His new book is Tonic. David, if you have a PayPal email address, or if you have Venmo or anything, we'd love to donate that way as well. But I do encourage people at the very least grab a copy of his book. His books sell well at a press, legitimate press for a reason. I think almost all of them. I think there's one I'm missing. It might be easy to keep. I have to go back and check, but Can't wait to complete my collection. It's been too long, and this was absolutely fantastic. What's your next book? What's the next book you're working on?
I'm
I
exhausted from
imagine you
this
got
one.
something. I imagine you got something in the works.
Yeah, well, I had some fiction that I'm trying to sell, but we'll see.
Is that part of what you wrote for that?
Yes, part of that crazy COVID manic stage. So I think it's really good. It's a good Malden crime story.
Oh, nice. Very
it's got a-
nice. That seems to be the second career for a poet to turn into a crime writer.
Yes.
We have John Wessick, who has a pulp trilogy. One other poet from South Boston has been doing it.
The kid from Revere too. I forget his name. He has a really good one. That's terrible if I don't remember his name. But yeah, it's a good 80s crime book, rock and roll, the mob, and hockey. What else do you need?
I'm picturing a man in a trench coat, but now I just added ice skates.
And punk rock, it was all connected.
And he's an old Boston garden just spinning around. I like this. I like this. I wish you good luck, and whatever chapters, whatever words do see the light of day, I hope you do share them when it happens.
And thank you for having me, Chad. It means so much.
Thank you so much. And guys, this is what I'm talking about. This is why I wanted to get the features done. And it's great to bring back friends from the old South Shore Poet Tribe, Bridgewater Poetry Slam, insert latest poetry name, town where we're gathering. Those are the days, and I'm glad you're still keeping on with the tradition and the poetry grind. It's not easy these days, but for those who can, I salute each and every one of you, and you especially tonight. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And with that, can't think of any better way to go out but to do the obligatory wave for the group photo. For the group photo, and then we do a still shot because otherwise they all come out blurry like this. But thank you guys very much. And next week is Nava the Butterfly, followed by you guys are the first to know, Loca Lucio on the 18th, and more people will be announced for the rest of October as well as November and December. Can be like this every week, guys. All we need is you. For those of you joining us for the first time, that didn't remind me of a random guy in the street interviewed by Tom Green. Some of you, that's a two-person joke. Some of you will get that. But I hope you guys will come back again and again. And we're only just getting started again. Stone Soup's taking on new life online, and hopefully we'll be back live someday. So until then, I'll be keeping in touch with all of you, and have yourself a very good night. And thank you again, David.
Thanks, Chad.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, other
Good
David.
night.
Thank you.
You're the other David.
I love you, Dave.
See ya. See you, Minion. Feel better. He shows
Love
over.
you too.
Thanks.
Time.
I love you too.